What do you think of Crawford Canelo? There's a lot of talk about that.
I think Canelo wipes the floor with him. I love Crawford. I told you when Crawford and Spence that Crawford would beat the hell out of him, but Canelo is a different proposition.
A good little man has never beaten a good big man.
Predictions keep flooding in from every corner of the sport, all warning Crawford about the danger he faces against Canelo. The idea of Terence Crawford leaping 3 weight classes to challenge Canelo Alvarez has become a major talking point. Although Crawford is riding high after dismantling Errol Spence Jr. to become the undisputed welterweight champion, many believe the size, strength, and power of Canelo at super middleweight is an entirely different challenge.
See that as a weakness. Seeing how they match up, I think that we just overhyped Crawford, and I think Canelo is going to beat him up.
Why do you think he's overhyped?
The recent win against Spence, but it was mostly because people just hated Spence. It wasn't based on anything that Terence Crawford did.
I mean, the performance he put on was amazing.
Was it the performance that could possibly lead to him beating somebody like Canelo, who's had multiple great performances, as opposed to 1, maybe 2? To be honest, he might just be a nobody if he loses, just like Errol Spence was. I kind of feel bad for him now that we set it up, but he still can cancel the fight.
Amir Khan, a man with first-hand experience, has been one of the loudest voices warning Crawford. Khan once made a similar move, stepping up to face Canelo after a dominant win over Devin Alexander, only to be brutally knocked out. He understands better than most how much difference a few weight classes can make. Speaking bluntly, Khan said, "I don't think anyone is beating Canelo. I'm hearing Crawford is moving up to 168 to fight him. I like both guys, but Crawford shouldn't give away that much weight." His perspective comes from harsh reality.
There's rumours that Terence Crawford and Canelo.
I don't think that should happen. Look, I like Crawford, and I think Canelo is a beast that way. Honestly, I would advise Crawford not to do.
Giving up that much weight against a proven power puncher like Canelo is a recipe for disaster. At 168 pounds, Canelo's punches carry bone-crushing power that even the most skilled technicians struggle to withstand. Khan's warning isn't only about size, it's about physics, leverage, and the raw force that comes with the extra muscle Canelo brings into the ring. Crawford, for all his brilliance, is not a natural super middleweight. Even if he adds the pounds, there's a big difference between functional strength and simply making weight on the scale.
More weight classes, like once he gets touched by Canelo, it's going to be different.
I am concerned about him absorbing a Canelo punch, especially through the course of 12 rounds. We do know this about Canelo. He's going to slow down, so I think if anything, Canelo would try to start fast and bang on him and break him down before he gets...
Promoter Eddie Hearn shared the same concerns, describing the fight as a clash between 2 generational greats but with a clear physical mismatch. Having followed Crawford's career closely, Hearn believes the size difference is simply too much. Speaking to Fight Hub TV, he said, "It's a fantastic fight. 2 generational greats, 2 pound-for-pound greats, but I do think the weight will be too much for Terence. Even at 154, he's not a big 154. He's definitely not a big 160, and he's not even a small 168. He's got unbelievable skill and a huge boxing IQ, but so does Canelo Alvarez. I give Canelo the edge in that fight."
Is Crawford going to be able to bridge this weight gap?
Yeah, I don't think he can, in all honesty. I mean, he might not be able to bridge it on Saturday.
Yeah.
So,
one weight class.
68, yeah, but you're coming up from 35. 35, 40, 47, 54. Sooner or later, it's one too many. And 68 is definitely too many. But Crawford's brilliant. Like, he's a genius. He's a generational great. So maybe he can find a way to do it. But I feel he'd be hugely outsized.
Hearn went a step further, predicting a stoppage if Canelo is able to impose himself early. He noted that although Canelo is the naturally bigger man, he doesn't enjoy chasing opponents. He prefers them to stand in front, trade, and absorb the weight of his punches. Crawford, with his slick footwork and sharp counters, won't give him that easily. But as Hearn pointed out, if Canelo can cut off the ring and force exchanges, the advantage swings heavily in his favor.
I don't think so. I think that he's much too much weight for Terence. His style was difficult. People will say it was a poor performance from Terence, but let's just say it was a great performance from Madrimov. I think 168 is much too big for Terence. But like he said,
Ryan Garcia also shared his thoughts in a recent interview with AK and Barack. Having sparred hundreds of rounds with Canelo, Garcia was blunt in his assessment: Crawford can't beat Canelo. He didn't look that strong against Madrimov, and Madrimov isn't even big. The thing with Canelo is that he's mastered his style. He knows exactly what's happening in the ring at all times. I just don't see Crawford beating him. Garcia's point goes beyond size, it's about experience and craft. Canelo has faced the likes of Gennady Golovkin, Sergey Kovalev, and Caleb Plant, encountering every style imaginable and finding a way to win. The Mexican superstar has adapted and thrived at every weight class he's entered, a true testament to his ring IQ and durability.
Oh, and Crawford, what do you think?
That's going to be a great fight, too. I can't believe they made that happen. Turkey's been making a lot of great fights happen. You can't really hate on it. But I'm excited for that. I know Canelo is so big, so strong, and I think he'll be just too big. I mean, weight classes matter for a reason.
Last question, Ali.
Teofimo Lopez has also sided with Canelo, predicting a late stoppage for the Mexican. I think Crawford is going to give Canelo a hard time in the beginning, but once Canelo gets comfortable in that ring and adapts to Crawford's style, we'll see him finish it in the late rounds. Lopez isn't wrong to emphasize Canelo's ability to adjust mid-fight. It's one of the key reasons he's dominated at the highest level for so long. His knack for reading opponents and making subtle in-ring adjustments is a hallmark of his greatness. Still, not everyone is ready to count Crawford out.
Before you get out of here. All right,
Listen, we can have the skills and everything, but jumping that much like that, it's a take. Jumping like that much, getting hit. I don't think Crawford's ever fought a fighter that's hit him directly, just straight, constantly in the arms. And it's not because they can't. They don't think that way.
Appreciate you.
Gotta clear it out, guys. Remember, this man's been pro since what, 14?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
15.
Yeah.
Veteran trainer Teddy Atlas, known for his no-nonsense takes, offered a contrarian view on his YouTube channel, arguing that Canelo's physical advantages may not be as decisive as many think. Atlas pointed to Canelo's declining foot speed and his struggles against mobile fighters. Can Canelo handle the smaller guy who's faster, slicker, and better defensively? Is Crawford going to take advantage? Atlas challenged the idea that size alone would determine the fight, instead highlighting Crawford's agility and defensive skills as potential game changers. I'm not going against Crawford. I think he's that special guy. Canelo's special too, but Crawford even more so. He hasn't learned how to lose yet, and I believe he's got those special ingredients that go beyond the physical.
Crawford, his composure going to be like the moment a punch lands on him from Canelo.
Are you kidding me? Take that question back.
Yeah, why?
Because you're talking about Crawford.
Yeah. He's the weight classes.
He's the most composed guy. Yeah. What, you don't think he'll be prepared? You think it'll be a shock to him? No. He's already moved up 3 weight classes. So now you're talking 6. If you add on 3. Crawford has the ability to slow things down in the ring that very few people have. And to see things.
Atlas's belief in Crawford isn't based on wishful thinking. Crawford is one of the most complete fighters of his era, a master of distance, timing, and angles. He's never tasted defeat, and that unbeaten record gives him a psychological edge that can't be ignored. Fighters who remain undefeated often carry an unshakable belief in their own invincibility, and Crawford's mindset is firmly rooted in that unbroken legacy.
Kovalev was older, and he does, don't get me wrong, he does have a lot of power. But all those guys that you name is not as skillful as me. I'm sorry. No disrespect to none of those fighters. The skill level is not there.
So how do you see a fight with Canelo go?
Tough fight. Canelo is a great fighter. Like, I always had respect for Canelo, but I just believe in my skills. The fact that people doubt me, it just fueled me even more.
Frank Warren, a veteran promoter with decades of experience, also shared his thoughts, pointing out that Canelo has shown signs of vulnerability in recent fights. You know, school was catching Canelo. It makes the Crawford fight more intriguing. I always say a good big will beat a good little, but Crawford could give Canelo real problems now. Warren's take suggests that Canelo's aura of invincibility may be fading, perhaps worn down by years of moving up and down in weight. Still, most insiders continue to favor Canelo, largely because of the physical realities. Jumping from welterweight to super middleweight isn't just about adding muscle, it's about adapting to the pace, power, and physicality of bigger men.
And he's got to give a lot of weight away, Crawford, but it could give Canelo a real problem now, because Canelo was getting caught.
Watching that, do you think Crawford might be, perhaps licking his lips isn't the right word?
Well, I'm sure he was. He was sitting ringside. He was sitting a couple of seats away from me ringside. You could see he liked it. No schmuck. He knows his boxing. And the other thing is, you've got to look at, what's his name? Was it Modric? What's his name? Madrimov, who he fought, also gave him a tough fight for a guy who only had 12 fights. So it's going to be a very, very interesting fight between them.
It's about surviving the trenches against someone who hits much harder and can take more punishment. For Crawford, the challenge goes beyond skill. It's about pushing his limits in ways he's never experienced. He's dominated everyone he's faced, but he's never stood across from a force like Canelo. That alone is a warning too big to dismiss. And that's exactly what Oscar de la Hoya sees. The size gap has been the recurring theme in nearly every analysis, with De La Hoya firmly believing Crawford is biting off more than he can chew.
A good little man has never beaten a good big man in the history of the game, unless you go back to certain situations with Pacquiao beat me, but I was a dead man walking anyway. But a good little man never beats a good big man, so it's a tough test for Crawford, but I'm not counting him out. The bottom line, and this is the truth again, it's a money grab.
Despite Crawford's dominance as an undisputed champion at 140 and 147 pounds, moving up to 168 is a step into a world where raw power and size can overwhelm even the most skilled fighters. Canelo, a 4-division world champion who has competed as high as 175 pounds and claimed the WBO title by stopping Sergey Kovalev, represents an entirely different kind of challenge. Crawford's run at 147 pounds has been defined by knockouts and a flawless record, but the physical reality of facing someone like Canelo is a far more daunting task.
There's no Triple G on Bud's resume. There's no Trout on Bud's resume. There's no Daniel Jacobs on Bud's resume. Canelo is the one that's fought the elite level opposition. It's Canelo that fought Laura. There is no Laura on Bud's resume. There is no Laura on Bud's resume. Bud has never faced a multiple division champ. Bud has never faced a multiple division champ.
Yeah, but Bud is an elite boxer.
So you're an elite boxer, but you haven't fought
Alvarez hasn't just held titles in 4 weight divisions. He's faced power punchers and elite boxers who test a fighter's resolve in ways few can understand. His only 2 defeats came against Floyd Mayweather, a master technician, and Dimitri Bivol, a natural light heavyweight. Even then, Alvarez went the distance in both bouts, showing his durability and resilience against much bigger opponents. For many observers, the outcome of this fight can already be foreshadowed by what happened to Charlo.
With Terence Crawford, you know, big weight jump, a dangerous fight, but somebody's got to prove to me that they can break Terence Crawford's will and that he can't figure it out against you. You know, it ain't no disrespect toward Canelo, but I've said this the last couple of years. I'm not betting against Terence Crawford against nobody right now. You got to.
Jermall Charlo's recent attempt to take on Canelo at 168 pounds stands as a clear warning for Crawford. Charlo, a former undisputed champion at 154 pounds, tried to bridge the weight gap but ended up on the wrong side of a one-sided beating. From the opening bell, the difference in strength, size, and power was obvious, with Canelo dictating the pace and forcing Charlo back at will.
And the biggest question to me, how will the 12-pound difference be for Terence Crawford? It's going to be his first fight at 168. For Canelo, this is the weight class that he always fights at, no problem. But I'm really curious on how Terence Crawford is going to be able to adjust to this and if it's going to be advantage or a disadvantage for
Charlo's sharpness and pedigree meant little once Canelo's power and physicality took over across 12 rounds. Oscar De La Hoya, despite his strained relationship with Alvarez, pointed to that fight as proof that weight classes exist for a reason. He described a potential Crawford-Canelo clash as a one-sided affair, predicting that the Mexican superstar's size and strength would eventually overwhelm Crawford, likely by the 7th round, when Canelo begins walking him down and applying the kind of relentless pressure that has broken so many before.
Crazy stuff about me going up and having a tough time, but he went up in weight and lost. That's the difference. I went up weight and won. He went up and lost. You know, so let's not do that.
Roy Jones Jr., another legend with a deep understanding of boxing dynamics, also shared his perspective. He advised Canelo to lean into his physical advantages by pressuring Crawford early and making him feel the weight difference right away. Jones knows the dangers of moving up in weight firsthand, having campaigned successfully at light heavyweight and even winning a heavyweight title. He understands both the mental and physical challenges Crawford will face against a naturally bigger, stronger opponent. Jones cautioned that while Crawford's speed and skill could cause problems in the early rounds, those edges would fade quickly if Canelo turns it into a physical fight, leaning on him, cutting off the ring, and forcing exchanges where his power can take over.
Man, it's a great fight for boxing. I know people don't agree with it, but if Canelo fights one inkling of the wrong fight, he's gonna lose. If he comes out and fights the right fight, it's gonna be a tough one. So right now, I think it go be either way, but it depends on what type of fight Canelo fights.
You've been a guy that went up in weight class. How do you think Terence Crawford should handle the weight? Should he come in lighter? Should he come right around the weight limit?
I mean, as big as he can get. If you get to the weight limit, because there is a weight limit.
Abel Sanchez, the veteran trainer best known for his work with Gennady Golovkin, echoed those concerns, bluntly dismissing the matchup as a mismatch. He compared it to Golovkin's fight with Kell Brook, where Brook's speed and technical skills gave him some early success, but Golovkin's size and power eventually proved overwhelming. Sanchez believes Crawford faces the same fate, able to shine for a few rounds before Canelo's relentless physicality begins to wear him down, likely ending in a stoppage between the 9th and 12th rounds. For Sanchez, the gap in natural size is simply too great. No matter how much weight Crawford puts on, the punches Canelo lands will hurt, and as the fight wears on, the physical toll will only grow heavier.
I think that Crawford is too small. Canelo is, in my opinion, the face of boxing right now. I think that look at his resume. I think it's a good fight for a little while. Crawford's hand speed will, just like when Golovkin fought Kell Brook, the hand speed was evident at the beginning of the fight. But as the fight goes on, Canelo's going to start pounding on him, and I think that the fight ends somewhere between the 9th.
Robert Garcia, another respected trainer, offered a more cautious perspective, pointing to Crawford's recent showing against Madrimov as a concern. Garcia suggested that Crawford may have been looking past his opponent, possibly distracted by the looming prospect of a mega fight with Canelo. In his view, that lack of focus, combined with the size disadvantage, makes the matchup a tough sell for fans. He argued that had Crawford delivered a more dominant performance, the anticipation might have been higher. But as it stands, the prevailing belief is that Canelo is simply too big, too powerful, and too experienced to be seriously threatened by a welterweight moving up 3 divisions.
I see Canelo winning, and I'm not, I don't know Canelo very well. I'll say hi to him if I see him. He'll say hi to me too, but we're not friends. I could probably say I've spent more time with Crawford, so I would love to see Crawford pull it off. I would be more happy to see Crawford win, because I know him better.
Despite the wave of warnings, Crawford remains confident. In a recent interview with The Ring, he suggested that Canelo has been holding back in his recent fights, perhaps not showing his full potential against opponents like Munguia or Berlanga, saving his best for a bigger challenge. That belief reflects Crawford's usual mindset, built on defying expectations and silencing doubters throughout his career. He also spoke about his own approach to a potential clash with Canelo, stressing that he isn't solely focused on chasing a knockout.
Start hitting me like, all right, man, maybe he's on to something. Then I started sizing him up, and I'm like, all right, well, Canelo 5'7", my arm's longer.
Yeah.
He's strong, I'm strong.
Right.
To me, skill for skill.
Right.
Because Canelo not the biggest 168 fighter. So,
While admitting that Canelo has a proven chin and has never been stopped, Crawford believes his sharper, faster punches could do damage if he lands clean. He dismissed the notion of Canelo being untouchable, reminding that every fighter can be hurt with the right shot at the right time. For Crawford, the focus is on fighting his fight, outboxing and outmaneuvering the bigger man rather than chasing a knockout that may never come. Still, Crawford's confidence, though admirable, collides with the harsh reality of physics and history. No fighter has ever made such a dramatic leap in weight to face an active pound-for-pound great without paying a heavy price.
I just gotta beat him. I'm not going in there looking to knock Canelo out. Could it happen? Yes, absolutely. When I look at Canelo, he's a smaller, bigger guy moving up in divisions. Being that these big guys are slower, so they might catch him with something, but he might see it at the last moment. They might catch him.
Shakur Stevenson, the WBC lightweight champion and a close friend of Terence Crawford, has been outspoken about his belief that Crawford can beat Canelo. Stevenson has held this view since as early as 2021, well before Canelo's loss to Dimitri Bivol. He argues that Crawford's power is underrated, noting that he has hurt heavyweight sparring partners in training, proof of his strength despite fighting in lower divisions. Stevenson also highlights Crawford's superior boxing skills and footwork, predicting those tools will enable him to outmaneuver and outclass Canelo over the course of the fight.
See, I think Bud could beat Canelo.
Would you like to see that fight?
Would I like to see it? Yeah, I would like to see it. Just because I know, I don't think that, like I said, I've been saying this, I don't think size win fights. I think skills do. So, I don't know who else probably will listen to me, but I think, Bud, stylistically, now I don't think,
Yeah, I think like being a southpaw with good movement and sharp.
Stevenson also points out that Crawford's southpaw stance could give Canelo major problems, as history shows Canelo has struggled with left-handed fighters. Fully confident in his friend's chances, Stevenson has even claimed that Crawford will destroy Canelo, showing his unwavering belief in Crawford's abilities. On the other side, Dimitri Bivol, the man who handed Canelo a decisive defeat in 2022, takes a more measured stance. He recognizes Crawford as a highly skilled and dangerous fighter but stresses the challenges of moving up in weight against someone as physically strong as Canelo. Bivol has underlined the need for Crawford to properly adjust to the 168 pounds division, warning that the added power and physicality at this weight can be overwhelming. So, how do you see this matchup playing out? Share your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to subscribe for more boxing updates.